another to Alicia draws and control them all by the Christian names as Tom, Dick, and Francis. They take it already upon their salvation. They know I be but the Prince of Wales, yet I am king of courtesy. They tell me flatly I am no proud jack like Falstaff, but a Corinthian, a lad of metal, a good boy by the Lord. So they call me, and when I am king of England, I shall come and all the good lads in his chief. They call, they can beat the head starter, and when you're breathing and you're watering, they cry him and bid you play it off. To conclude, I am so good, I'm proficient in 1/4 of an hour, but I can drink with any tinker in his own language. During my life, I tell the Ned, thou hast lost much honor, that thou wert not with me in this sweet action.
Sweet Ned, to sweeten what your neighbor of. Did I give thee this penny worth of sugar clap? Even now into my hand by an underskinned girl, one that never spake other English in his life, and 8 shillings and 6pence. And you are welcome with this shrill addition on a nonsense score. A bastard in the half moon or so, but meant to drive away the time till Falstaff come. I'm breathing. Do thou stand in some my room while I question my puny draw to work? And he gave me the sugar. And do thou never leave calling Francis, that is tale. To me may be nothing but a non-stop sign. I'll show thee her precedent.
Come hither, Francis. My lord, how long thou hast thou to serve? Francis, forsooth 5 years, and as much as 2. Francis, not enough, sir. My lady, allow at least for the click of pure work. But Francis, darest thou be so valiant as to play the coward with thy adventure and show it a fair pair of heels and run from it? Oh, Lord, sir, I'll be sworn upon all the books in England I can find in my heart. Francis, anon, sir, anon, sir. How old art thou, Francis? Let me see about Michaelmas next I shall. About Michaelmas next I shall be. My nose is hot. Praise their little bubble. They not argue scientists for the sugar that'll big was me. But the pennyworth was not. Oh no, I wanted that thing too. I will give thee for the £1,000. Ask me when thou wilt, and thou shalt have it. Anon, anon, anon. Anon Francis, no Francis, pick a bottle, Francis. Francis with the Bundy. Francis without Wilson, but Francis. My Lord, built out by this never jerking. Crystal, but not painted egg ring. Stock at $10 smooth tongue, Spanish pouch. Oh Lord, sir, who do you mean? Why, your brown bastard is your only drink. But for look, you Francis, your white canvas doublet. Will sully in Barbary, sir, they cannot come to so much. What, sir? Francis. Away you go. They'll stand and hear them call.
Why standest thou still and here is such a calling? Look to the guests within, my Lord, old Sir John, with half a dozen more are at the door. Shall I let them in? Let them alone a while and then open the door, boys. No, no, answer. Sir, Falstaff and the rest of the thieves are at the door. Shall we be merry as miscreants, my lad? But hark ye, what cunning match have you made with this chest of the draw? Come, what's the issue? I am now all of humors that have showed themselves. Humor since the old days, a good man had unto the pupil age of his present. 12 of the clock at midnight, what's a clock, Francis? Anonymous.
Than ever, this fellow should have had fewer words than a parrot, and yet the son of a rush. His industry is upstairs and downstairs. His eloquence, the parcel of a reckoning I am not yet of Percy's mind, the Hotspur of the North. He that kills me some 6 or 7 dozen of Scots at a breakfast washes his hands and says to his wife, "Fireball, this quiet life. I want work. Oh, my sweet Harry." Said she, "How many hast thou killed today?" "Did my roan horse and drink," says he, "and answers so 14, an hour after, a trifle, I'll quit it, call it Falstaff. I'll play Percy, and that damn brawn shall play Dame Morgan. His wife Ribble says the trumpet call him Rib, call him Hollow." "Well, Jack, where hast thou been?" "Woo! Where's those?" "You rogue, here's lime in this sack too. There's nothing but roguery to be found in villainous man. Yet a coward is worse than a cup of sack with lime in it, a villainous coward. Go thy ways, old Jack, die when thou wilt. If manhood, good manhood, be not forgot upon the face of the earth, then am I a shot and herring. There live not 3 good men unhanged in England, and one of them is fat and grows old. God help the while. A bad world, I say. I would I were a weaver. I could sing psalms or anything. A plague of all cowards, I say still.
Howdy now, woolsack, but muddier. Howdy now, woolsack, but muddier. Howdy now, woolsack, but muddier. Howdy now, woolsack, but muddier.
straight. Nothing to show you you can't, not who sees your back. Call you that backing of your friends. I'm playing the part such backing. Give me them that will face me. Give me a cup of sack. I am a road if I drunk today. Oh villain, thy lips are scarce white since thou drunkest last. All's one for that. A plague of all cowards still say I. What's the matter? There before was it. Obtained £1,000 this late morning. Where is it, Jack? Where is it? Where is it? What's the matter? Take it from us, it is 100 upon for 4 of us. What 100, man? I am on the road, following my merry hansel. With a dozen of the blue owls together, I have escaped. By middle by an 8 times thrust through the hub, falling through the holes. My butler cut through it through my sword, hacked like a handsaw. And she signaled, never dealt better since I was a man. Or would not do a plague of all cowards. Let them speak if they speak more or less than truth. They are villains and the sons of darkness. The speech says, how was it? We 4 set upon some dozen. 16 at least, my lord, and bound. Oh no, they were not bound. You rode, they were bound. Every man of them bore amateur, else and Hebrew Jew. And thus I ball my point for Rosen, but ram, let drive, that's me. One for Lord, thou says for two now. I told thee for raising thee, face for far. It's for him all up the front, and made the first and me. I made me no more to do, but took all the 7 points in my target. The 7 wide, there were but 4 even now in Buckram. And 4 Buckram suits, 7 body skills, so I am a villain else. Pretty, let him alone, we shall have him for long. With him alone, we shall have more long. Like more.
Hey, I'm on D2 track. The soul voice was to listening to these 9. It worked around, then I told me up to 2 more. Ready? Then points me and broke it down the hole. Began to get the ground, but I'm thoroughly close. Came and put my hand, and with the first 7 of the 11 I paid. Oh, monstrous! The liver's brought round and grown out of tea. But I never would have had it. What got amazing to the man think of my back to that. For it was so dark, all the darkness, not see our hand. Catch what? Art thou man, is not the truth, the truth. Jack, your reason. What? Upon compulsion sounds an hour after stop a door. All the racks in the world, I would not tell you on compulsion. Give you a reason on compulsion. If reasons were as plentiful as blackberries, I would give no man a reason upon compulsion.
I'll be no longer guilty of the sin, the sanguinary coward, this bankrupter, this horseback breaker. This you till the flesh has blood. You start, you stop, and you elf skin, you dry. Meat stung, you bullfish, or you stockfish. Oh, for wealth to other ones like me. You tailor's yard, you sheep about days, you bar and tuck. Well, breathe a while and then do it again. And when thou hast tried thyself in these comparisons, hear me speak again, Mark Jack.
We stood for you for set on four and found them, and were masters of their wealth. Fought now how a plain tale shall put you down. Let the read to sit on your floor, and with a word I'll face you from your prize and habit. Can to show what you hear in the house, and false staff to carry your guts away as nimbly with as quick dexterity and roar for mercy. Still run and run as ever. I heard boot calf, what a slave art thou to hack thy sword as thou hast done, and then say it was in fight. What trick, what device, what starting whole cast? Now find out to hide thee from this open and apparent shame.
Let's hear Jack, what trick hast thou now?
By the Lord, I knew you as well as he that made you. Why he of my masters? Is it for me to kill the parent? Should I turn upon the true friends? Why I know I am as valiant as Hercules. But beware instinct, the lion will not touch the truth. Prince instinct is a great matter. I was now a coward on instinct. I shall think the better of myself and determine
dues answer. Quick things do, Jack. Faith, and I'll send him packing. Now, sir, now, lady, you fought fair. So did you, Vito. So did you, Bardo. Your lies to you ran away upon instinct. You will not touch the true prince. No, they found red when I saw others wrong.
Faith, tell me now in earnest, how came thoughts that have soared so high? Why he acted with this dagger and said he would swear truth out of England, but he would make you believe it was done in fight, and persuaded us to do the like. Yeah, to tickle our noses with spear and rags to make them bleed, and then to smother our guards with and swear it was the blood of true men.
Did not 7 years before I blushed to hear his monstrous devices. Oh, villain and vow, stole a suck sack 18 years ago. Were taken with manner and ever since. Thou hast plastic temple, thou hast fire and sword on thy side. If thou ranest away, well, instinct cast thou for it.
My lad, do you say these negroes? Do you behold these exhalations? I do. Got the proof. What think you they portend? Hot livers and cold purses. Call up my law if rightly taken. No, if rightly taken home to. What think you they portend? Hot livers and cold purses. Call 'em along if rightly taken. No, if rightly taken home.
Here comes England, here comes Bambo, and now my sweet drum all about how long Mr. Jack since thou saw a light on me.
When I was about 9 years, hell, I was not an eagle's talent in a waist. I could have crept into any other man's slumbering. Like a plague of sign and grief, it blows a man up like a blind of battle.
There's endless news abroad. It was Sir John Blazey from the father. We must to the court in the morning. That same mad fellow of the north, Percy, and he of Wales. They gave Ammon on the bastinado and made Lucifer cuckold and swore the devil is truly Jimmy on the cross of the Welsh or the plague called you. Oh, Glendower, oh, it's the same. And his son-in-law Mortimer and old Northumberland. And that sprightly Scott Douglas that runs a horseback up a hill perpendicular. That rides at high speed with his pistol, kills a sparrow flying. You have hit it, so did he never the sparrow. Well, that rascal had good metal in him, he would not burn.
its head.
Well, is there? And one more day, and 1,000 blue caps more. Worcester is stolen away tonight. The father's beard has turned white with the news. You may buy land now as cheap as stinking mackerel. Why then it is like, if there come a hot June and this civil buffeting hold, we shall buy maidenheads as they buy hobnails by the hundreds. By the mass, lad, thou sayest true. It is like we shall have good trading that way. But tell me, how art not thou horrible afeard? Thou being heir apparent, could the world pick thee out 3 such enemies again as that fiend Douglas, that spirit Percy, and that devil Glendower? Art thou not horribly afraid? Doth not thy blood thrill at it? Not a whit, I faith, I lack some of thy instinct.
Lord, what? Hit the micro when the comes to thy father. If thou love me, practice an answer. Do thou stand for my father and examine me upon the particulars of my life? Shall I content this chair shall be my stake, the stand of my scepter and this cushion my crown. Thy state is taken for a joint stool, thy golden scepter for a leaden dagger, and thy precious rich crown for a bit of pitiful foreground. Well, in the fire of grace be not quiet out of thee, now shalt thou be moved. Give me a cup of sack to make my eyes look red, that it may be thought I have. What? For I will speak in passion, and I will do it in King Canvas's vein. For here is my lady, and here is my speech. Stand aside, nobility.
Oh, Jesus, this is excellence, for I thank weak, not sweet queen, for trickling tears of our vein. Oh, the Father, how he holds his countenance. For God's sake, Lord, convey our tristful queen. For tears to stop the floodgates of our eyes. Oh, Jesus, he doth it as like one of these harlots.
Praises ever I see.
Harry, I do not only marvel where thou spendest thy time, but also how thou art a crummy. For though the chamomile, the more it is trodden on, the faster it grows, yet youth, the more it is wasted, the sooner it wears. That thou art my son, I have partly thy mother's word, partly my own opinion, but chiefly a villainous trick of thine eye, and a foolish hanging of thy nether lip, that doth warrant me. If then thou be son to me, here lies the point. Why, being son to me, art thou so pointed at? Till the blessed Son of Heaven prove a miser, and eat blackberries, a question not to be asked. Shall the Son of England prove a thief and take purses? A question to be asked. There is a thing, Harry, which thou hast often heard of, and it is known to many in our land by the name of pitch. This pitch, as ancient writers do report, doth defile, so doth the company thou keepest. For Harry, now I do not speak to thee in drink, but in tears, not in pleasure, but in passion, not in words only, but in woes also. And yet there is a virtuous man whom I have often noted in thy company, but I know not his name. Hey!
But men are men, and it like your majesty, a goodly born man, a faith and a corpulence, of a cheerful look, a pleasing eye, and a most noble carriage. And as I think his age, some 50, or by lay inclined to threescore. And now I remember me, his name is Falstaff. If that man should be lewdly given, he deceiveth me. For Harry, I see virtue in his looks. If then the tree may be known by the fruit, as the fruit by the tree, then, rhetorically I'll speak it, there is virtue in that Falstaff. Him keep with, the rest vanish. And tell me now, thou naughty tell me where I stop in this month. Just don't speak, make the tune. You will stand for me, and I'll play my father. Compose me.
Thou dost have so bravely, so majestically,
Both in word and matter. Hang me up on the hills for a rabbit sucker on wholesale. Well, here I am, say. Here I stand, judge my masters. Now, Harry, when's it come up? My noble lord, from east to dub complaints I hear of thee are grievous.
but my lord, they are false. They are tickle ye for a young prince, I faith.
Praise thou ungracious boy, henceforth they'll look on me. God violently carried away from grace. There is a devil haunts thee in the likeness of an old fat man. Eternal man is thy companion. Why dost thou converse with that trunk of humans, that bolting hut your beastliness, that swollen parcel of dropsies, that huge vomit of sack, that stuffed coat bag of guts, that roasted mandatory ox with the pudding in his belly, that reverend vice, that gray iniquity, the father ruffian, that vanity in years. Wherein is he good but to taste, sack and drink it? Wherein neat and cleanly but to carve a capone and eat it? Wherein cunning but in craft? Wherein crafty but in villainy? Wherein villainous but in all things? Wherein worthy but in nothing?
That villainous abominableness leader of you, boast that old white man is safe. My Lord, the man I know thou dost.
Say I know more harm in him than in myself. Well, to say more than I know. That he is old, the more the pit. His white hands to witness it, but that he is saving your reverence. Oh, master, that I utterly deny. If sack and sugar be a fault, God help the wicked. If to be old and Mary be a sin, then many an old host that I know is damned. If to be fat be to be hated, then Pharaoh's lean kind are to be loved. No, my good Lord, banish Pito, banish Bardolph, banish points. But for sweet Jack Falstaff, kind Jack Falstaff, true Jack Falstaff, valiant Jack Falstaff, and therefore more valiant being as he is, old Jack Falstaff. Banish not him, thy Harris company. Banish not him, thy Harris company. Banish Club Jack and banish all the world. I do, I will. I do, I will.
I'll do, I will. But for Swift Jack, Falstaff, Kind Jack, Falstaff, True Jack, Falstaff, Bad Jack, Falstaff, and therefore more valiant being as he is, old Jack Falstaff. Banish not him by Harry's company. Banish not him by Harry's company. Banish Plum Jack and banish all the world. I do, I will.
My lord, don't let me just with the most monstrous one. That's not doing. Out you roll. Well, I'm glad I had much to say on behalf of that Falstaff.
Oh, fool, my lord, I know.
The devil right on the pedal stick. What's the matter? The sheriff and all watch us at the door. Then I come and search the house and I let him in. Down here,
Never all a true piece of gold, the counterfeit theft. Thou art essentially mad, even so, and thou art not so power without instinct. I deny your major if you will deny the sheriff so. If not, let him enter. The father come not a cause as well as another man. I pray on my bringing up. I hope I shall soon be strangled when I hold up as another. Go hide deep behind the Ferreras, the rest walk up above. Now my master's for a true face and good conscience, on which I have had. But their date is out, and therefore I need.
Calling the sheriff. Now that's the sheriff. What will we? First, pardon me, my lord, that hue and cry. Half of all certain men unto this house. One man, one of them is well known, my precious lord, a first fat man, as fat as butter.
The man that I do for you is not here. I myself at this time had employed him. And sure, I will engage my word to thee, that I will, by tomorrow in a time, send him to answer thee. For any man, for anything he shall be charged without. And so let me entreat you leave the house. I will, my lord, there are two gentlemen having this robbery lost 300 lords. It may be so if he have robbed these men, he shall be answerable. And so farewell. Good night, my noble lord. I think it is good morrow, is it not? Indeed, my lord, I think it be 2 o'clock.
This oily rascal is known as well as Paco. Call him for Falstaff. Fast asleep behind the areas and snorting like a horse. Hark how hard he fetches breath, search his pockets.
well, that's not found. Nothing but papers, my lord. Let's see what they gave him. Read them.
Waiter, on Capone, 2 shillings and 2 pence. Item, sauce, 4 pence. Item, sack, 2 gallons, 5 shillings and 8 pence. Item, anchovies and sack, after supper, 2 shillings and 6 pence. Item, red OB. the court in the morning. We must all do the wars in our place shall be honorable. I'll procure this fat rogue a charge foot, and I know his death will be a march of 12 score. The money shall be paid back again with advantage. Beer and beef be tens in the morning. So good morrow, be told. Good morrow, good morrow, good morrow, good morrow, good morrow, good morrow, good morrow. Good morrow, good morrow, good morrow, good morrow, good morrow, good morrow. But monsters, but one half penny worth of bread to this intolerable deal of sack. But monsters,